We got a very special guest for you today to start the show as we are excited, and we are joined by Coach Kirk Broussard. Now, he was born in New Orleans and raised in Pensacola, and he played his high school football at Booker T. Washington High School. Yes, at Booker T. Washington High School. It's coming up that great season this year. He is a former NFL coach for the Buffalo Bills, Detroit Lions, and Minnesota Vikings. And he is going to be coaching in the Dream Bowl in Salem, Virginia in January. We're going to learn more about the Dream Bowl here and, of course, learn more about Coach Broussard. And, hey, Coach, thank you so much for your time. Welcome. How you doing on this Tuesday?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on. I'm honored to have the opportunity to come on and talk, Paul. How you been?
Well, we've been okay. We've been busy, as I'm sure as you are as well. But this is this great time of the year, isn't it? You're winding down the college football season, and you got the NFL. It's December football here, and you got the college football playoff ready to go. So we're excited about it. But let's get into your background here, okay? To refresh everyone, you played at Booker T. Washington High School. You got on the coaching ranks in the National Football League. You spent time with the Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, and Buffalo Bills, and now you're put in charge. You're going to be a head coach in the Dream Bowl coming on up. Why don't you just share with us your background and what it's been like for you doing everything that you have done in your career?
Yeah, so I left New Orleans as a young kid, and my mom and I moved to Pensacola. My mom's from Pensacola, my dad's from New Orleans, so when the marriage didn't work out, we moved to Pensacola, and that's where I got started at with football. Yeah, you're right, I did play at Booker T. Washington briefly. The thing is, I think when I started at Washington, we had a rough road, as far as winning games. So it was always a struggle to win at Washington until my last senior year. We had a pretty successful season. A lot of people may know won a state championship. And so my high school career was a little bit rocky. I had some injuries. I ended up having some jaw injuries that sidelined me for actually about a year and a half of high school football. So I didn't get to play many games at Washington, but my college career ended up being a little bit more successful, after high school. I spent some time there in Pensacola working at some of the local establishments. I was a security guard at Seville Quarter. I worked at Joe Patty Seafood. I had a lot of odd and end jobs, but I still had that dream to play college football. And, I ended up meeting a guy in the Tallahassee Mall that was plugged into a lot of colleges and gave me an opportunity to come out and work out at this combine. I ended up getting a full ride to go and play at a junior college in California, and had some success there, and had a brief stint in the pros in a lot of different various leagues and the arena leagues and overseas. But I always had that high football IQ, and I had a lot of friends that encouraged me to go into coaching. And I've always known since a young child that I was going to be in football some type of way. If it wasn't a player, I was going to scout. I was going to coach. Football was my passion. It's always been like the biggest passion. And so I set out on this quest in 2005 to obtain a job in the NFL as a coach or a scout. And it honestly took me 5 years of sending out resumes and going to different events, taking hands. It took me 5 years of rejection. I actually got someone to say yes. And I got that opportunity with the Minnesota Vikings, and the next thing I know, I'm on the field putting Adrian Peterson through drills. So, and then once I got the first job, that kind of kicked in the door, and I was able to continue to network and get more jobs after that, and finished up in 2015 and 16 working on Rex Ryan's staff for the Bills, and that brings us up to now. I've kind of had some family things that came up, with having kids, and kind of has had me a little bit away from football, but I've always worked at All-Star games, and I've always worked this game, that we have now called the Dream Bowl. And this year I was selected as the head coach. The previous years I've been the offensive coordinator and the wide receivers coach. And so this year I was selected as the head coach, and it's a great opportunity. It's a great game. and yeah, so we're excited to do it MLK weekend in Virginia, in Salem, Virginia. And so we're just preparing for that now, and I'm sure a lot of the kids that are just finishing up their college seasons or trying to figure out what all-star games they're going to go be a part of if they're invited.
Well, share with us a little bit more about the Dream Bowl. What do you know about it with the history of the Dream Bowl then? And you're saying you're tying it into, with Martin Luther King week.
Yeah, so it's a great event. It's always done in Virginia, and previous years they've had some media coverage there on Comcast Sports Network, so I'm hoping that's going to be in place again this year. So it's great exposure for the kids to be able to have their final game on national television. And so the way it works is they have a scouting staff that selects the elite of the elite from, the ranks of FCS schools, Division II schools, and even some Division III players have even, worked their way to the game as well. The history of the game spans back 9 years, so we're going into the 9th year of the game. The game is done by Neil Mallow, who is the president of the game and the initiator who actually started this whole process to give these kids this opportunity. So when I was introduced to the game, I just thought it was a great opportunity to put my stamp on, helping to fulfill some of the young kids' dreams. And that's really the theme of the game. They're trying to marry in the fact that kids have dreams to play in the pros, as well as Martin Luther King's dream to unite everyone, and that's kind of how the whole marriage got worked in to creating this opportunity for kids. And so one great thing about the game is it usually hosts about 30 NFL scouts over the years. Pretty much each team is represented to scout the game. Before the game, there's a combine. The day before the game, 2 days before the game, there's a combine, and you have various NFL scouts, CFL scouts that participate in the combine and get, accurate numbers on guys. And then you kind of carry over to 2 games. So you have the HBCU Bowl, which is your historically black colleges. They have their all-star game. And the following Monday, from that Sunday, you have the Dream Bowl, which is all the FCS, all the Division II, all those schools combined. They come together and they play this great all-star game. And then one thing about the game since its inception, it has fostered over 75 kids that have signed NFL contracts from this game, as well as quite a few draft picks as well. I know last year when I coached it, I want to tell you around 7 or 8 kids that ended up signing NFL contracts. So it's just a great opportunity and great exposure. So I'm proud to be a part of it.
Now, how many do you got committed so far that have said, hey, we'll play in the game?
Yeah, so traditionally the game hosts about 120 kids.
Okay. And
I think at this point, we've had quite a few invites that went out to a variety of the top seniors that are coming out of school. And I think at this point the rosters are about 65% full. So we still have room to add kids. Kids can submit film if they want to be a part of it. But traditionally, we send out a lot of invites, and our scouting department works hard throughout the year identifying those guys that, I'm not ashamed to say we thrive on the sleeper. We're looking for the kids that are slept on, that don't get that opportunity playing on national TV every week, at the Division I level. So I know you guys have West Florida right there in your backyard. I know they have a lot of great talent. So a lot of those seniors that are coming out that may want this opportunity to play in the Dream Bowl, I mean, this is a great opportunity playing in front of 30 NFL teams.
Well, you might want to be interested in that roster. They get ready for the semifinals here against Ferris State, as we were just at the practice last night. Now, I would think is this more like you said the sleeper here? So I would have to think maybe that the Dream Bowl roster does have a little bit of a heavy dose of Division II players.
Yeah, it focuses on those draft diamonds, as we like to call them. There's a lot of our kids are usually traditionally between 5th and 7th round picks or priority undrafted free agents. So, yeah, it does focus on a lot of Division II kids, but there's a good, healthy mix of Division I AA or FCS kids that are involved as well. So it's a variety of kids that really, that stand out, that are superstars on their level. A lot of our kids are former SEC players that have transferred to the Division II level or the Division I AA level as well. And one of the kids that really stands out that, is we had a kid drafted by the Raiders last year from Alabama State, offensive tackle. And so he's the guy that really stood out, but he's still on an NFL roster as we speak.
Well, how's it put together then? Who makes the decision as far as the invites are concerned? And how can somebody who plays at West Florida get on into this game?
Yeah, so they can go on to dreambowl.net, and we have a section for our scouting section to where they can submit film, they can submit accolades to our scouting department, and that's definitely a way you can market yourself to actually be a part of the game. But traditionally, the scouts go out and they invite the guys that have shined, that have put up great numbers, the guys that have been standouts all year. But we can't find everybody. We have a scouting department, but to really cast our web as wide as we can, we like those kids to go on and to dreambowl.net and submit film.
Okay, Coach. So you're the head coach here of the Dream Bowl 441 team here. How do you put your staff together? How's that organized?
Well, traditionally as a head coach, a lot of times you want to bring on guys that you trust. And one thing I've tried to make a big effort with this year with the game is I wanted the game to be affiliated with as many former NFL coaches as possible or NFL players as possible. So my personal staff that I've comprised are mostly friendships that I've made in the league over the last 13 years. If I haven't been in the NFL, I've been striving to get into it. So during that process, I've made a lot of friendships. So I've reached out to a lot of guys that I know are in between jobs that have that NFL pedigree. And so far, I've filled about half of my staff. And one of the guys that really stand out, I have Johnny Rutledge, who's going to be my linebackers coach. And a lot of people in the area may remember him from the Florida Gators. He was a two-time All-SEC, All-American. He was on that Steve Spurrier team with Javon Kirsch, the Freak. He played in the NFL for 7 years. And so Javon's going to be a part of Johnny Rutledge is going to be a part of my staff. And right now I have about half of my staff in place, but I'm still looking for coaches. So the coaches can also submit resumes through, they can actually find me on Facebook at Coach Kirk Broussard and submit me a resume that way.
Okay, Coach, I know you obviously, I'm going to get your thoughts, college football playoff that came out Sunday. I thought they got it right here, but some nice matchups here in the semifinals, LSU, Oklahoma, Clemson, Ohio State. What do you think? How you think it's all going to play out here?
I've been watching it pretty closely all year, so I definitely have some opinions about it. Obviously I feel a little slighted because I am a Gator, and I feel my Gators were shafted a little bit. But LSU is strong, man. I mean, how can you go against that? I think Orgeron's a masterful motivator. I think he has LSU clicking on all cylinders, and so it's really hard to bet against them. But I think all the games are going to be close. So I think the people are really going to enjoy the games. That first matchup with LSU and I believe Oklahoma, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I feel and then you have Clemson. I just know Clemson's been really inconsistent all year, so I think we're going to see an upset that we don't expect. But I think I think the championship game we're going to see Clemson and LSU, because I feel like Ohio State throughout the year, their strength of schedule has been really questionable, I can say. And so I just really haven't seen them up against elite talent to really, dominate. And then when they played Wisconsin, I mean, they struggled in that game. So I feel we're going to see LSU and Clemson, and I think we're going to see LSU crowned as national champions.
Yeah, very well can happen. Well, Coach, hey, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. It's a great stop. Congratulations. All the best of luck with the Dream Bowl. And it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much, and continued success to you and to your entire family. Thank you so much, and happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays. Thank you so much for the honor of allowing me to come on the show. I appreciate everything. And God bless. I'll talk to you soon, Paul.